go to Queen ChenziRa, your thoughts on this question. How do we bring the community in? You talked about all the spaces that you're in. Share what has been the success around that.
The main success has been around making sure that our brothers and sisters know that we're not doing this work for us. We're doing this work for generation upon generation upon generation to come. Work and study, I'm going to keep saying that again. Work and study. Like back in the day, we used to say, and I'm not trying to date myself because I like feeling very youthful and young. Work study circles and organizations like the All African People's Revolutionary Party really gave a lot of grounding to a number of persons to be able to have the community engaged. Not only those persons that have the strength and the intellectual rigor connected to studying, a host of literature, publishing a host of material, and then being able to present, teach, etc. But breaking it up, not breaking it down, but breaking it up so that the common person, that grandmother, that grandfather in the community that we all know that we go to would actually be an integral part of this discussion with action. See, amongst academics, we can do all the discourse and the over-intellectualization of what Pan-Africanism, reparation, reparatory justice, self-determination, etc. But to our people on the earth, in the ground, you have to make it connect to how it deals with food, clothing, shelter, transport, and security. I want to make sure that we got that clear. So what we started doing through, whether it's through CPAN, through the UNIAACL, through Per-Ankem Smaitawi, through the AAPRP, the AAWRU, we can sit here and list all the different organizational letters. It is very critical that we establish these work-study networks so that where persons can be met, that they can engage in the process. Sometimes some of the work that I do is linked to things that we have with young persons, whether it's through the Caribbean Boys and Girls Center, whether it's through the projects that we do around National Museum of African American History and Culture, through the Smithsonian Institution, where we're training young persons from 12 to 17 to be engaged. And when we get to those 12 to 17-year-olds, then we get to envelop their parents. And then we get to envelop their grandparents. So we in those conversations where we're learning to swim, learning about scuba diving, exploring what we see in the marine studies arena, we are also giving them the content around reparatory justice, around a more authentic narrative of the African indigenous ancestral experience all the time. So that when they come to us and say, we didn't see this in the history book, Dr. Chen, I express to them, you wouldn't see it in certain history books because the institutions that surround us, even the institutions that we think are for us, have been trained to miseducate us and focus on training and not education and edification, etc. That's where we get a chance to really bring this truth to power piece. Organizations like the UNIAACL spends a lot of time, whether it's through sports, cultural engagement, mass meetings, to have the wider community engaged so that when we speak of reparatory justice or we speak of reparations, persons don't just see this as my son, they talking that slavery thing again. Oh, God, they talking that money talk again. Oh, God, it's not like it's a resistance. We do our best. If I have to go play dominoes, chess, checkers with elders or young people, I'm not the best at basketball, but I know how to make it look fly when I do play. Whether it's tennis, whatever is allowing for us to positively engage them so that we can at least start that part. We even here use the bambula. We did one as recently as Sunday where we brought young learners, male and female. We had university students, high school students, little ones that learned the tradition of our ancestral dance styles, music, drumming, stick fighting for communication. And in that discourse, while we were dancing and waving and moving in our cultural experience, we had that conversation in between on Pan-Africanism, self-determination, reparatory justice, reparations, so they understood that when you keep hearing Dr. Chen talking about, do you know it's the 7th year for the International Decade for People of African Descent with the theme of promoting what? Recognition, justice, and development for we? Right. I had to go like that. I have to use every tool because that's how we're supposed to communicate, right? We're supposed to, as young elders, formed elders, aspiring elders and eldresses, as revolutionaries, without apology, operate. In my case, I have to do it through the network that has facilitated this. I give thanks to my 98-year-old mother who guided me to make sure that I stayed on this path and do it as peacefully as possible. However, sometimes there's a little bit of fire, little bit, right? And that's one of the things, some of the things that we started doing is to really work, study, deal with healing. People still come to us so we can help them to deliver their children in a humanized way. If that's where we get to have this conversation, that's what we do. If it's to utilize the radio and media, that's what we do. And the more that we engage like that and find our people where they're at, even if it seems like it's makes you breathe deeply, we are to be in that space and use Ubuntu, use Ma'at, truth, justice, order, reciprocity, balance, divine righteousness, and harmony in all of what we're engaged in. If it gets really funky, gentle, honest, open, specific talk, the ghost, so that when we're speaking, that it's more enveloping for our brothers and sisters that are part of this journey, because we need everybody in this journey for reparations and reparatory justice and beyond.
I should.
You're welcome.
I should. Thank you for that.